All right, it's 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, and 11 a.m. Pacific on this rather warm Sunday in Minneapolis. It's a little over 50 degrees, which is kind of warm for this time of year in Minneapolis. Today is Sunday, March 8th. I am Wes, the creator, co host, and social media manager of the Star Trek podcast called Twin Cities Trekkies, a Star Trek podcast talking about everything from the original Star Trek all the way to Star Trek Starfleet Academy and everything in between. And this is live episode number 8, number 15, 16, excuse me, number 16, talking about the latest episode of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, season 1, episode 9, 300th Night. Before we get into the discussion about the episode and other things on my mind, I want to let you guys know that the live chat is open. So you can come in and say hello and we can go from there. But to get in touch with us, it is simple. Send us an email at tctrekkiespodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to send us an email with anything you'd like to say. If this was one of your favorite episodes of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, or you just want to chime in about what you thought about the episode, you can definitely do that, and I'll gladly read your email on the air. If you want to leave us a comment on social media, that's perfectly fine as well. The handle for Facebook is TC Trekkies Pod. Instagram is Twin Cities Trekkies Pod, all one word. Or you can find us on Blue Sky when you search out TC Trekkies. We are also available on TikTok as well. Just follow us at Twin Cities Trekkie. If you want to leave us a comment on Spotify when the episode's live stream will be available either on Tuesday or Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Central, you can definitely do that. Navigate to this episode in the Spotify feed and type your comment there and post it. It takes about 1 day for the comment to reach back to us via an email. But just keep in mind that any emails or comments could be read on a future episode of Twin Cities Trekkies. Well, I'm going to say this much. The live stream audio might be available on Wednesday evening. I will explain that right now, actually. After this live stream's over, it'll be available to watch. But it takes about a day to process it all. It's just the way with Google and whatnot. It usually captures what I'm saying word for word for closed captioning, in case anybody who watches this later on a live stream wants to have subtitles. But it takes about a day for the video to process. So I usually try to get it on Monday evenings. However, the next two nights after tonight, I am going to be, I do this every year, folks, around this time of year. March is usually the busiest month for me in terms of other things I do that are not related to Star Trek. And that is, I do Minnesota History Day. Now, for those who don't know what Minnesota History Day is, it's part of the national competition brought on by the National Historical Society, and stuff like that. They do competitions all over the country centered around a certain theme. I've been doing this on and off for the last 15 years. I've been doing it since 2011. So been doing it a long time, folks. Been doing it. This is my 15th overall year doing it. Even though I took some years off due to COVID, and it was harder to do it virtually. We did it. 2021 was hard. 2021 was all virtual because of COVID. We actually, what's funny is that we actually had a couple of school events during the early part of March 2020, and then everything went to shit, and everything was virtual after that. But it sucked in 2020 and 2021 to do virtual competition. They came back to do it in person in 2022, but I'm just letting you guys know about that. So it might be dropping on Wednesday evening rather than Tuesday. I usually do it on Tuesdays, but this week might be a little difficult. So the live stream will be available. Wednesday evening. I'm going to work on trying to get it on Wednesday evening, folks. It'll be 6 p.m. Central, like always, because I I generally release new episodes that are not related to the live streams on Friday mornings at midnight Central Time, and then the live stream audio is either on Tuesday or Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Central. And it drops pretty quickly when it's on 6 p.m. Central because no one likes to overload the servers, I guess. And sometimes that happens with the with the midnight droppings too. It won't pop up. It will pop up shortly after midnight, but then it will take a little bit if you are listening through Apple or Spotify proper. Who knows? I don't know, but sometimes that happens. So it'll probably be Wednesday. So the next 2 evenings, folks, I am going to be at the U of M doing History Day. So I do the competitions in around the Twin Cities area. I didn't do. I usually do the one in Eden. It started in Eden Prairie and in White Bear Lake. For those who are familiar with this area, starts in the West Metro, goes to the East Metro over a course of like a month. So, but there are other competitions that the schools participate in for History Day that converge into one for two specific competitions, and that's tomorrow and Tuesday. So History Day, for those who don't know, is a thing that for middle 6th grade to 12th grade, they do projects. It could be an exhibit. It could be a documentary, a 10-minute documentary. Could be a 10-minute performance. Could be a podcast. That's new this year. Or it could be an exhibit. Or it could be a website. Or it could be a paper centered around a certain thing. Well, I've never have judged papers, first of all. I've never done that. Papers are done virtually. I would love to do. I think maybe next year I would do a paper. I maybe do paper competitions. I don't know. I've never judged a paper before, so I would love to judge a project based on a paper. But I've done everything else, except for the podcast. That's new. That's new this year. So this year is about a certain theme about celebrating. I mean, something about I forgot the name of the topic, but it ties into the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. So, and right now, so that's why it'll probably this live stream's audio will be available on Wednesday rather than the normal Tuesday because of the fact the processing plus me being occupied with other things I do. I've been, like I said, I've been judging History Day for the last 15 years, on and off for the last 15 years. And I love it, folks. If you're in the Twin Cities area and you're watching this video right now or watch it later, go sign yourselves up. They need more judges, especially for the ones here in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Minneapolis is at North High School, and the one for St. Paul's are at Johnson High School in St. Paul. So go sign yourselves up because they need more judges because I'm anticipating that there will be a little less activity in terms of the kids being there because immigration enforcement is still around, folks. The ICE surge hasn't ended. I mean, it's gone down from like 3,000 to what was reported by former DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, that there are 675 agents still in Minnesota. So we don't know. So it might be a little difficult, but I've judged it for the last 15 on and off for the last 15 years. This is something on my mind. I know I'm not talking about Star Trek, but this is why. So I've been doing it on and off for 15 years. And without History Day, I'm going to say this much. I would not have been excited about the name of the class of Starship for the second season of Star Trek Prodigy had I not done that. There was a few years ago, there was a competition for History Day in which the theme was pioneers in history. Things that got started by a certain person and then it continued and improved our lives and stuff like that. Well, in case anyone doesn't remember, I'm tying this into Star Trek now. the name of the class of ship for the Voyager A in the second season of Star Trek Prodigy was Lamar class. And it was named after Hedy Lamarr, who was a communications pioneer during World War II. She helped pioneer. She was an actress, but also pioneered certain aspects of communications to break the Nazi codes and stuff like that during the Second World War. So, so it was something that I got really excited about when I heard about the class of Starship for Prodigy's second season. Was that if I hadn't done History Day, I would never have been that excited about it. So I was like, oh, there's something they're playing History Day. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. And I never knew who Hedy Lamarr was until I learned it from the students. That's one thing I actually enjoy about History Day, folks. I enjoy History Day a lot. I enjoy judging History Day mainly because I am excited for these kids. The future is bright with these kids. They're kids who do it from like they're 12 years old to like 17. So from like 11 to 17-year olds, and they're applying their knowledge as best they can. And they're doing very, very well at it. And I learn something new every year. I learn something new every year. Like there was a solo performance last year, folks. There was a solo performance in 2025 that me and my best friend were judging. She and I were the ones judging this particular one. And this particular person went on to the finals, went on to did it, performed again that same day on the final round. Performed again, and they got second place in state. And they got second place in state, and they ended up getting a silver medal at the national competition in Washington, D.C., which is in June. So now that would be fun to do. I would love to drop $5,000, like drop a couple $1,000. I mean, I don't have that money on my hands, but if I had that much money, I would drop a couple of $1,000, go out to DC and judge National History Day, which is in the middle of June, which is I think is the second or third week in June. But that's what I do every year, folks. It's fun. I highly encourage you if you're in Minneapolis, if you're in Minnesota right now, or heck, I know other people across the country. If you see History Day competitions in your state, go judge them. You learn something new every year, folks, and you learn something new if you're not even a history enthusiast like myself. I'm a history enthusiast. I've always been a history enthusiast. But I mean, if you're not a history enthusiast and stuff like that, and you want to learn something, you want to like learn something from older children, like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, go do it. Go do it. It's fun. It's fun. I hope this helps with getting some judging. So much apologies for what's going on outside right now. I don't know what's going on, but the sirens are going off. It's just a rescue truck. Don't worry about it, folks. And it's just a rescue truck. So that's why we're having the live stream audio on Wednesday. About the podcast itself, we have episode 115 out. Finally. I know I kept on teasing it the last couple of weeks, and I haven't gotten a chance to do it. I finally had time in my life to do it, and I finally did it. The episode's about an hour and a half long. I think it's like the longest solo episode I've done in a while. Talking about, so I know at the beginning of the year, I had wanted to do the celebrations of Enterprise and the original Star Trek as two separate celebrations, because I wanted to keep them separate. But since the overall 60th anniversary is kind of more important than the 25th anniversary of Enterprise, we're just going to combine the two. I'm going to combine the two and call it 60 Years of the Final Frontier. That's what I'm going to call it. That's what the celebration is going to call it. The 60 years of the final frontier. Because, space, the final frontier, come on. And 60 years of Star Trek, come on. That makes perfect sense. So I'm going to combine the two. And I will not, when I do episodes about that, I'm just not going to have a subtitle next to the next, because I'm going to have 60 Years of the Final Frontier, Part 1, etc. And then in the episode description on the podcast feed itself, I'll put the subtitle there. Mainly because I don't want to when I do the artwork for it, I don't want to make it a bunch of jumbled mess. So that's why that's why the first part is called. That's why the title is 60 Years of the Final Frontier Part 1. So that's what it's going to be called. So I'm just going to combine the two, folks, regarding the sixth Enterprise anniversary and the original series anniversary, and just combine it into one. And if you are watching this later and you want to be a part of this celebration, I know there's people out there. I know I will be in touch with them shortly, probably within the next week or two, regarding guest podcast recordings and stuff like that. Mainly because I want to finish out the season. I will probably reach out to them after this next week. After I do my live stream for the season finale of Starfleet Academy, to talk about that, and we'll get that started. We'll get the Star Trek Film Extravaganza out. That title will not change. It'll just be called Star Trek Film Extravaganza 2 with the Roman numeral 2. So we'll be doing that and stuff like that. But like I said, the last couple episodes, if one of the unions in Hollywood does strike, either the WGA or SAG-AFTRA, or both for that matter, Twin Cities Trekkies' celebrations will be put on hiatus. We will go dark again, and we probably won't be making more episodes until both strikes are settled. And that is going to affect what we plan to do in the summer too. I mean, granted, we will be at Con. We will be at Convergence. That's no problem, because there's going to be a lot more Star Trek panels this year because it's the 60th anniversary of Star Trek. I still plan on recording the panels I'm going to be on, because I want to be a part of most of those panels. I know I want to be, and I'm hoping that I'd be on maybe like 4 or 5 again, because I was on 5 last year, and I had them all as episodes of this podcast. And I do have the voice recorder. Give me 1 second here. I can show you. I have this thing. So I do have a voice recorder. It works perfectly. The last time I used this was back in November when Kenzie and I did our 100th episode. So we had a blast. I had a blast doing that. So it was a blast episode. I would love to do an episode again, recording an episode of Twin Cities Trekkies. I would love to do that again live from a convention. That was a lot of fun. And I'm hoping within the next few years we can probably promote it a lot more too, with episodes about the extra be outside of the Twin Cities too, for cons. Like, I know my bucket list includes both going to Trek Long Island in New York, and also going to Star Trek Las Vegas. So it's a rescue truck. If you hear that, I'm sorry. It's a rescue truck. It's going down Nicollet Avenue, which is the next block up. So please forgive me. Please forgive me for that. But, yep, like I said, episode 115 is out, called 60 Years of the Final Frontier, Part 1. So, and then, like I said, that's about that. So episode 115 is out. Guest shots will probably be beginning next week, beginning the following, after probably the week following the last live stream. So, and like I said before, if SAG-AFTRA and WGA decide to strike, which I'm anticipating WGA more striking than SAG-AFTRA right now, yeah, we will go dark. We're going to go dark again, because that's considered struck work by writers. because, like I said, the yin and yang situation. Writers write the words, actors write them, actors act them. So, well, there's another thing I want to talk about too before I get into the episode of Starfleet Academy is that we got an encouraging sign about season 4 of the Orville. Now, we're not an Orville podcast. We never were, but we do. We like to talk about the Orville on this podcast. We've touched upon it briefly in other episodes of this podcast, but the last time we talked about the Orville specifically on one of our podcast episodes was way back in 2022. So when season 3 was delayed from March 2022 to June of 2022, which put it right in smack dab in the middle of season 1 of Strange New Worlds. Well, we got an encouraging sign because Seth MacFarlane, who is promoting the second season of Ted right now for Peacock, which just dropped a few days ago, said that they have written all 10. They have written the scripts for season 4. It was quoted by the Hollywood Reporter. It's shared on our Facebook page. That's an encouraging sign that that season 4 has been written. I hope it's not the last season, but maybe it will be. But maybe they crafted the final episode of season 4 to be the overall series finale. But the only reason why we haven't got any sort of green light on season 4 is because of Seth MacFarlane. He said it's a matter of having the time to do it. And right now, he has no plans to extend Ted beyond season 2. But it depends on whether or not Ted season 2 becomes super successful like it did for season 1. And that was bolstered by because season 1 dropped in 2024. I think it was early 2025 or late 2024. Early 2025. It was last year, early last year. And it was during I think it was and what they did was they promoted Ted as they were broadcasting an NFL playoff game. So, and it drove up subscriptions for that, and it got a lot of people interested in Ted, the TV show, and it got renewed for a second season, which just dropped. I haven't watched any of the episodes, but I've seen one clip from it, and I want to watch the rest. I've seen like 2 clips of it. I want to watch the rest, and it's actually really interesting. But he says that he has no plans to extend Ted. So that could be maybe he might be starting up the Orville again. We're not sure. So, but keep an eye out for that, folks. Once we know for sure that the Orville is coming back, we'll let you know. Because we've let you know before that season 4 is happening. It's just taking its slow process to get it done. And it's never been canceled. Never has been. Never was. So I just wanted to let you guys know about the Orville too, because we will talk about the Orville. Once season 4 is officially going to happen, we will be talking about the Orville. So, because we want to talk about each season of the Orville before it comes back. So that's what we would do. Wow, I see 2 people online. But yeah, the Orville may be coming back soon, folks. It's just a matter of getting a soundstage and the official announcement from Hulu. So, which it will be interesting to see what happens, because it might move over, or it may become a Disney Plus original series then, because there's a thing happening that will, by the end of the year, Hulu will be shut down. So, and merge all of its programming to Disney Plus, all of its original programming too. So we got that going on. So watch Ted, but don't watch it a lot so we can get the Orville back. But on a more happier note, so let's talk about Starfleet Academy. So 300th night. So we're at the end of the academic year, folks. We're at the end of the academic year. They're all celebrating. They're gonna change things. They're gonna have. They were moving the Beta Z to have um, the new thing of the host planet of the Federation and stuff like that. And we got Caleb's mom back. We got Anisha Mir for the first time since the first episode. Kids these days played excellently by Tatiana Maslany. She, what's funny is that she's known in other universes like She-Hulk, and it's interesting to see her. You would expect this woman, you would expect Caleb's mom to be like have this long hair and like just like She-Hulk's hair was, but no, it's kind of weird seeing her in a short haircut, but that's okay, because my wife has short haircut, so I don't mind with females having long. I don't mind women having short haircuts. I really don't mind that at all. It's just weird. It's just weird to see it when you see the actresses who have short hair after you've seen them in long hair in other shows. So that's okay. That's beside the fact. But we got Caleb's mom back. He finally found where she was and finally got her back. And but we got another Voyager storyline that was cropped up this episode, and that was the Omega Directive, folks. So Noose Braca has officially isolated the Federation with Omega 47 bombs, Omega 47 mines. They've mined the Federation off, and the Athena can't make it back. Can't even talk to anybody in Starfleet because I don't know, interference or stuff like that. And like the last time Jonathan Frakes directed an episode set in this far future, which was a Grange Point from season 5 of Star Trek Discovery, we have the main hero starship separating its saucer again. Enough already with the saucer separations. Gosh. Didn't we learn anything from Next Generation, folks? Now it looks like just a UFO. Didn't we learn anything from Next Generation? Because the reason why we didn't have much separation of the Enterprise D in Star Trek in the Next Generation was because it dragged down the story. It dragged down the story for the pilot encounter at Farpoint. It dragged down the story for Arsenal of Freedom and the second part of the Best of Both Worlds. Because that was the 3 times it happened, even though it was threatened 3 more times. Like it's not threatened, but more like, let's do it. Let's separate the ship. Why are we doing this again? That really bugged me about this episode. The episode is awesome, by the way. The planet Urukuk is, kind of like, I got serious Star Wars vibes from it. Serious Star Wars vibes from that planet. Serious, because it reminded me of, it's funny. It reminded me one of the first of all, it reminded me of some of the episodes from this era of Star Trek, such as Stardust City Rag and an episode from season 3 of Picard. But it also reminded me of the Star Wars prequels, specifically Attack of the Clones. When especially that aspect of the episode of the movie where Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi are chasing the bounty hunter who was trying to kill Padme Amidala through the streets of Coruscant. So that's what it reminded me of. That's what the marketplace reminded me of. It reminded me more, and it also reminded me of the first season finale of Star Trek Discovery, Will You Take My Hand? Because it reminded me of Kronos too. Kronos in that time. I was expecting one of the aliens taking a piss, just like we saw in that episode of Star Trek Discovery, which was now 8 years ago. But definitely, I don't know. I have no objection about the art direction of this show. I have nothing against it at all. It just reminded me too much of Star Wars. I got serious Star Wars vibes from it. But why do we have to have the main ship separate again? But why? I'm not mad. It's just why? It just feels like it's going to drag down the story even further, and I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the final episode of the season. Reuben Khan, which is the episode's title, but I don't know what I'm going to expect. And that's something I didn't expect to notice. But it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen with these cadets and Reno and the doctor and not Dala Ake. So I don't know what's gonna happen. Whew. Anywho, let's end it. Anywho, I just want to let you guys know that we will be back on Sunday, March 15th, with the final live stream of the season. Live stream talking about the season finale of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, Reuben Khan. And that will be the last one I do for a while. If we have any strikes happening between now and the season premiere of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Because if one of these unions does strike before the season begins, we will not have any live streams. So we won't have another live stream for a while if that happens. But maybe I could probably come back on before that happens. Maybe just talk about anything regarding Star Trek or something like that. Maybe I'll improve the live streams going forward and stuff like that. Maybe get on StreamYard like some of my colleagues do, like on Captain's Quadrant or Crusher Convo or other shows like that. And I would love to be on there. I would love to do that, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. But anywho, I will see you next week. Take care and live long and prosper.